There we go. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hi. How's everyone doing? Let me see here. Let me see who's here. I saw a few people in here, which is great. How's the sound? Is it good? Sound okay? I have that chat box up there. Let me get rid of that real fast. Boop. There we go. Okay. All right, folks. Well. Let's see what we have going on. Let me see who is here. I'm going to fix this camera a bit. Oh, you know what? That works. We can just keep it like that. That's fine. There we go. Okay, let me see who's here in chat. Who do we got? All right. Hamina, hello, Hamina. Hamina painting. I'm very glad to hear that, Hamina. Macy. Hello, Macy. Well, hello. Radon is back. Hello, Radon. Hello, Sir Bartholomew. Hello. Nobody Guthrie. I'm afraid today, Sir Bartholomew. Oh no, I'm sorry, Toy. A huge headache. I'm sorry to hear that. I am having chills because I haven't smoked since yesterday, and I'm already having chills. So I kind of feel you there. That's why I have a blanket on. See here. Renan, hello. Henry, hey Henry, how you doing, Henry? I'm glad you like the music there, Redan. Good. Hello, Mithril. Um, I'm glad you're here, Mithril. I was going to show everyone the sword because I think it was you, Mithril, who asked yesterday that I show it to everyone. So I'll do that before I start here. I get it, Radon. I get it. Good morning, Long Beach Dragon. Okay, Big Braden's here. Hello, Big Braden. Hello, Big Braden. Hope everything is going well with you. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, Long Beach Dragon. I'm already feeling the withdrawal. Like you weren't joking, okay? Like I have chills. I don't like feel that bad. I just have chills so far, but I know it'll be bad for at least 3 days. I hear is when it's the worst. Yes, the fabled sword of liberation. So, folks, let me show it to you. I think it was Mithril yesterday who asked to see it up close, so I'll bring it and I'll show it to all of you. 1 second here. Okay, so let's take a look. All right. Let me make sure. I'm going to change my screen here to make sure that you guys can see it well. So this is Chainbreaker. Let me switch to this other screen here. Here we go. Okay. So you can see here, I try to be very careful. I try not to touch the hilt because if you see, the hilt is disintegrating because it is a sword from the Civil War. It's been passed down on my family for a long time. It has some lovely kind of designs here and such. And if you look very closely at the blade itself, I don't know, you might not even be able to see it. There is a design on the blade. But it's kind of hard to make out because of the rusting. So yeah, this is Chainbreaker, rumored to have killed 7 slave owners. And the rusting actually might be evidence of that, to be honest. We don't know. We don't really know if it did kill 7 slave owners, but that's what's been said in the family. And the rusting kind of has a splatter pattern on it, which could imply that there was a liquid on it at some point. So anyway, yeah, I'm trying to make so you can kind of see it right here. There. You see near the hilt right here, you can see somewhat of a design. There's actually like an intricate design that goes all the way down it. But yeah, so that's Chainbreaker. It's still pretty sharp too at the end, so I got to be careful with it. But yeah, so that's Chainbreaker. The sword has been passed down in my family for quite a while. All right, I'm gonna just set it back up there. Give me a second. Oh, I shouldn't be touching the hilt though, but oh well. Ooh, okay. Ugh. All right, let me get these back on. Okay. All right, let me go back to chat here so I can see what if anyone has said anything. Okay. It really is a work of art. It's quite beautiful. Um Okay, Fox Emblem, I exist. Boss is being Hitler about phones. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Fox Emblem. I know how that is. I know how that is. Um, Alan W, you'll have a short temper and some restlessness. Alan, I definitely feel some of the restlessness. I don't have a short temper yet. I just have chills and I'm a bit restless. I kept wondering, I'm like, why am I so cold? Why am I so cold? I can't stop shaking. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I know why. Okay. So I'm trying to keep myself warm. Um, uh, it really is mithril. It's beautiful. Radon, you're after my heart here, Radon. Chainbreaker, +5 anti-slave damage, +3 rust damage. Description: Slayer of 7 slave masters, known to contain the power of liberation, passed down revolt family. Right? That's great, Radon. Do I feel my heart racing yet? Let me. Maybe a little bit. I'm not quite sure. I'm guessing that is a symptom. I haven't. Yeah. My main thing here is just the chills and a bit of restlessness. So I'm working on it. We'll see how long it is. Let's see if I can push through. All right. Okay, guys. So we have a few things to talk about today. That specific sword, yes, Alan. Now, I will point out, Alan, we do. I've actually researched and stuff. I can't find any proof that it did in fact do that. It has, and I'm a historian, so I never trust things that are sort of passed, like stories passed down in families. So I can't confirm that 100%. There is a splatter pattern on the sword that does show, and there may have been some sort of liquid deposited on it. And it has been passed down in my family, and that's the story of it. Is that it was responsible for the death of at least 7 slave owners, and I don't know if that means that it just killed 7 people that were fighting for the Confederacy, or it was actually slave owners, or if it even happened. But that is the legend that is passed down in my family. Yes. So okay. All right. Um, and Okay, so folks, let's talk about a few things. First of all, I'm going to try. I have a lot of slides here about nonviolence resistance. I don't want this to take forever, though. I think it was Toya. Um, yeah, oh, please, Radon, please put the sword in your game. Um, Mithril. No, don't undercook your chicken. Okay. So I'm gonna go through. I think it was Toya who asked, and I had wanted to do this, do a stream about how you guys can resist. Okay, what are some non-violent resistance tactics can be used against an authoritarian regime? Now, for legal purposes, I'm going to point out I am not advocating or specifically or saying that you should do any of these things. Okay, I'm simply giving you a list of nonviolence techniques, and from a book that of a famous scholar, and I will tell you about that. But what's the time goal? The time goal. Oh, thank you. Yes. If we get, by the way, if we get 5 super chats, folks, I'll put on the Jester hat. Or I think even if I get, I don't know, we can say like if I get what, $15. So like 5 super chats or $15, whichever comes first. I'll put on the Jester hat. And then 10 for the collar, and then 15 for the Jester makeup. Okay. No, you're right, Macy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Agreed. Yeah, Alan, that's an excellent one. Document everything. Um, okay. So, let's get into, I'm going to pull up my screen here so we can start talking about this. Now, while we're going through this, try to think of, there are a lot of different ways you can resist. Okay, a lot. You probably have already done some of them and don't even know it yet. Okay, so let me pull it up here. All right. So wait, let me find the right. Here we go. You'll have to excuse me too. Because I have these little chills. I'm having a little bit of trouble with my mouse. So give me a moment while I. There we go. Okay, so Let's talk about these things. Now, it is a long list, but I'm not going to go into detail on every single point here, okay? Uh okay, so let's get into it, okay? All right. Uh that's amazing, Mithril, okay? All right, so let's get into this, okay? So first, two books you can go to read more about this. So we're going to be talking about who Gene Sharp is. I love Gene Sharp. But he wrote these two books, The Politics of Nonviolent Action, especially part two. It's a three-part thing called The Methods of Nonviolent Action. And then he also wrote a famous book called From Dictatorship to Democracy. Both of these books were highly influential in the Arab Spring, for example. His works have been used in nonviolent resistance movements all over the world. He's famous. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize for his work here. A really brilliant guy. I posted these in the resources channel of Discord if anyone's interested. This is where I'm getting a lot of this info. So there you go. So Gene Sharp, before we begin, okay. Alan W., I will not blame you if you buy some vape juice, LOL. Just buy a lower nicotine concentration level. Cigs have way lower levels of nicotine, so I've never experienced withdrawal bad. Interesting. Okay, I'll consider that. I know I'll see if I can get through a cold turkey, and if I can't, then we'll see. Okay. So okay. So this is Gene Sharp. I'm just going to briefly tell you who he is. This guy here on the right, he passed away, I think, in 2018. He was an American scientist. He was the founder of an organization called the Albert Einstein Institute, which studied nonviolent action. He actually was born in Ohio, which is where I'm from. Okay, and he took a lot of inspiration from Gandhi, Thoreau, and he ended up compiling a list of 198 methods that people can use to nonviolently resist authoritarian regimes. Okay. Um, okay. So that is what we're going to go through. And first, let me explain something to you about how he views power. So Sharp's key theme is that power is not monolithic, that is, it does not derive from some intrinsic quality of those who are in power. For Sharp, political power, the power of any state, so any government, regardless of its particular structural organization, ultimately derives from the subjects of the state. So his general thought here is that if subjects do not obey their rulers, rulers have no power. This makes sense, right? The number of people who actually rule a country is relatively small compared to the population. They rely on some degree of obedience to keep things functioning, okay? So that is his general view of power, and he studied this for years. Hamina, you got it. Sounds like a sharp guy. You got it, okay? I get clever. All right, so let's go through the list of things he listed as ways of doing nonviolent resistance. Okay, so there are different sections here. The first one is methods of nonviolent protest and persuasion. Okay, so the first category is formal statements. Now, as we go through these, folks, try to think about, let's say, in a theoretical situation where you may want to engage in any of these actions. Try to think about, each of us has different talents, different things that we are able to do. You have to balance out how you resist nonviolently. And in theory, of course, I'm not saying anyone would actually, do these things. I'm just saying in theory, if people need to balance out what they can do that balances out their safety, their need to survive, okay, and their skill, their talents, what they can get away with, etc. Okay, and he actually said that in his book. Okay, so here are some of the first things you can do. This is just the formal statements category: public speeches, okay, letters of opposition or support, signed public statements, declarations of indictment and intention. For example, the Declaration of Independence was a declaration of indictment and intention, for example, okay, or group or mass petitions, okay. I know that a lot of these things might be like, well, that won't work. That's just a tiny thing. Yes. So some of these things are more effective than others at generating change. We need a whole selection, a variety of these things to make change. But combined, they're very powerful. And some of them are very powerful on their own. Okay. So there's some examples right there, some basic things you can do for formal statements. Okay. Communications with the wider audience. Okay. Slogans, caricatures, and symbols. So for the artists in chat, slogans, caricatures, and symbols, banners, posters, and displayed communications. Okay. I think we can guess what some of those might be: leaflets, pamphlets, and books, newspapers and journals, records, radio, and television, skywriting and earthwriting. So skywriting is where you take a plane, or you have a banner attached to a plane and you draw words in the sky, or earthwriting when you draw things on the earth. Okay. Like in big letters or whatever, in order to attract attention to it. Okay. Those are 6 more things that one can do to resist. Okay. Write things, do any of these things. Okay. Group representation. So deputations, that is where you, well, actually, just read them first. Deputations, mock awards. I love mock awards, where like you get like you create some sort of group that does like award for the most corrupt senator, most corrupt congressman. Okay. Group lobbying. You can guess what that is when you get together as a group and try to lobby Congress or whatever. Picketing. I think we know what that is. Mock elections. I think that's a good idea too. Okay. Now, deputations is where you start assigning people to take the role of government actors, not literally, but in a sort of symbolic way. Okay, so let's say you have a continental Congress, like we did in early America, and you turn those people into the representatives of the government, even though there's still a representative government over in Britain. Most successful revolutions, by the way, the thing that makes the ones that are successful is that they have parallel government institutions. I'm not saying we're going to do a revolution. I'm just saying the successful revolutions always have parallel government structures. They create a government next to the existing government. So deputations is an interesting form of nonviolent resistance. Okay. All right. Symbolic public acts. I think you know most of these. Displays of flags in symbolic colors, like the pride flag. Okay. Wearing of symbols. Hello, Demosthenes. Hello, welcome, Demosthenes. Just a reminder, everyone, 5 super chats, and I will put on the Jester hat, or $15. If I just get 15, then I'll automatically put on the Jester hat. Mithril, not very representative government here either, to be honest. Okay. Wearing of symbols. Prayer and worship. So if you're a religious person, prayer and worship can be a form of resistance. Okay. Delivering symbolic objects, where you like deliver to a politician some object that is symbolic. Protest disrobings. So we're talking like there will be women, feminist women who protest by going nude or taking their shirts off and painting themselves. You could do a protest disrobing. Destruction of your own property. You can do that. All right. Symbolic lights, displays of portraits, painting as a protest, which I know Hamina is quite skilled at. Painting as protest. New signs and names, where you literally replace signs on streets and such with new signs, or you put up new names, or you put up new names for like streets and buildings and things like that. Okay. Symbolic sounds. It is a tradition in a lot of places to bang pots and pans together as a form of protest. Symbolic reclamations, where people will symbolically retake over things that they think should belong to them. Rude jesters. I'm sure we can guess what those are, right? Rude jesters. Toya today posted an image in our Discord of someone giving Bolsonaro the middle finger. Okay. That would be a good example of that, and getting it on camera. Okay. These are all things you can do to resist. Some of them are not that difficult. Okay. Okay. Let's get to this next part. Pressure on individuals. Number 31, let me explain this to you. Haunting officials. You'll see it's in quotes. Haunting officials. That is where, okay, we're not talking physical harassment here. You just show up where they are and you kind of show up wherever they are, okay? And I'm not talking, I wouldn't necessarily recommend showing up at their homes. I mean, this is complicated. Again, for legal purposes, let me say, don't show up at their homes. The point here, though, is make them feel haunted. Like the problem won't leave them because they literally see protesters wherever they go, okay? Taunting officials. Yeah, taunt officials. Literally just taunt them. That requires a lot of mental energy on the side of an official. Okay. Like if they're constantly being taunted, they have to spend a lot of mental energy to resist getting angry and things like that. So taunting can work. Okay. Frat. Well, first of all, let me skip that one. Vigils. Okay. Holding vigils. We see this a lot. Vigils outside after school shootings, vigils after major things like that. Okay. Um, so, I'm trying to remember what is meant by fraternization. I used to know this. Let me look it up real fast, folks. I know I can quickly find this. Because I think I know fraternization. Sharp. Resistance. Okay. No, resistance. Okay. Okay. Gene. Okay. Yes. Okay. That is where, okay, yes, I knew it. Okay, so you build relationships with people that work for the government in an effort to bring them to your side of the to bring them to your side. Okay, exactly, Meowzord. Thank you, Meowzord. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Maybe like schmoozing within their group. Yes, okay. Try to fraternize with people with officials and stuff that work for the regime in this theoretical government we're talking about, right? Okay. And make them remind them of your humanity, make them start trying to see things your way, okay? We've had to do some fraternization here in chat, okay? Vigils, like I said, okay? These are all things you can do. All right? Here's some more. Drama and music. You can do humorous skits and pranks. I use a lot of this on YouTube these days, and some of them are subversive. Humorous skits and pranks, performance of plays and music. Just certain kinds of music and certain plays and such are very subversive, okay? You can even write plays if you want to that are subversive. Singing. Okay, I cannot over emphasize how powerful singing can be. It is a human thing that we do. It has a lot of power. Singing can be a form of subversion. All right. Singing in public places, singing in situations where people aren't expecting it. Okay. Just singing can be very useful. All right. Okay. Processions. Tons of different kinds of processions we could do. I mean, in theory, marches, parades, religious processions, pilgrimages, and motorcades. I'm not going to go too in deep in that. You kind of get the hint there. Okay. Those are sort of things one could do to resist. Honoring the dead. There's political mourning where we mourn political heroes who have lost their lives, etc. Mock funerals, okay, where for example, recently there was a mock funeral where someone laid to rest the American dream in a casket. Okay, like you could do a mock funeral. Demonstrative funerals, okay, literally just a funeral mixed with protest. Homage at burial places. I can give you an example. There have been people putting a bunch of homage materials at Marx's grave, including a Labubu, by the way, which is kind of funny. You can do homage at burial places. Okay. Public assemblies. Assemblies of protest or support. That kind of goes without saying. I'm sure you know that. Protest meetings. And another kind of protest meeting is camouflage meetings of protest. You do not have to make these public. You can camouflage them. It still has an effect of being resistive because you are all meeting in protest and being subversive in protest, and you can camouflage that. All right. I highlighted this one because that's what I'm doing right now. Now, there teach-ins where you kind of spend a lot of time trying to educate people in order to inspire them to take resistive actions. Okay. Now, a lot of teach-ins will actually take place in physical buildings. Teach-ins can also take place online. This is sort of what I'm doing here, folks, in theory. Okay. Doing a teach-in. Trying to inspire people, etc. Okay, so that you can also do teach-ins for any educators. You can use your skills there to do that. Withdrawals and renunciations. Walkouts, where you literally just walk out of if there's a politician having a meeting. A lot of graduates walk out of their graduation ceremonies when they don't like the speaker, or they'll walk out in protest of Gaza. So just walking out. Silence can be very powerful. Just dead silence, either as a group or individually. Silence. Renouncing honors. If you receive an honor of some sort, you can renounce that honor. Now, that might not be applied to a lot of us, not because we're not receiving honors, but it wouldn't make much of a difference if you renounce an honor and no one hears about it. Turning one's back, literally just turning around when someone walks by that is supposed to be respected, turning your back to them, showing your back to them. A politician, person in power, turn your back. Okay. Mithril. Well, when my late dad was a vicar, he was annually asked to lead his parishioners on pilgrimage to the Holy Land. His response was, "Until the Palestinians are free, that land is not holy, and I won't go." Excellent, Mithril. That your dad is a hero. That is a perfect kind of resistance. Okay, a kind of nonviolent resistance. Okay. Let's go on to the next category here. And folks, I know I'm kind of just going through this as a list. I have posted these on Discord if you want to go back through and look at them. These methods are the methods of social non-cooperation. Okay, so let's get into it. So ostracism of persons. So one thing you can do here is social boycott, where you literally boycott being around someone. That is, for example, if you have a friend or if someone you know who is a senator or a congressman, you will refuse to hang out with them in a social setting. Okay. Selective social boycott. You might boycott certain kinds of settings with that person or that group. Lysistratic non-action. Okay. Another word for this is sexual non-action, where you withhold sex. There is this actually happened in Chicago. There were a bunch of women in Chicago who did sexual non-action and refused to basically engage in sexual relations with their husbands and boyfriends until they stopped fighting in gang wars. And it worked. It can also be men that do this. It could be anyone that does this. Sexual non-action can be a form of resistance. Okay. Excommunication. If you're religious, you can excommunicate people who you find are correct, DZ75. Correct. Manapa, welcome to chat, DZ75. That's why I'm saying, DZ75, that any one of these things on its own may not have a significant effect. But if we have different people of different skills, different talents, different levels of risk doing all these things at once, it'll shut down society, or it'll make. And okay, in theory, right? I'm not saying that this is what we would do. I'm just saying, in a theoretical society, if you were to do all these things, you take over public debate. Okay, you make it hard for things to function. Okay, all right. Okay, interdictions. Interdictions is things like, for example, blocking roads, making it hard for people to move from one place to another place. Now, I don't do that, people. That could be illegal. I would never recommend that. All right. Would never recommend that. Anyway, interdiction. So that's where you block roads, etc. Make movement difficult, slow down transportation, prevent officials from going places, etc., etc., etc. Non-cooperation with social events, customs, and institutions. So you could suspend regular social activities or sports activities. Okay. Boycott of social affairs. You don't, if there's any sort of big social event, don't go to it. If don't show up. Student strikes, where students will stop learning, they literally stop working in a classroom. There have been incidents of this where students will do a walkout at schools, and they'll basically go on strike in order to argue against gun violence. Social disobedience. One really interesting. So this is where you do things that break social norms in public. I can give you an example. I once knew someone who, as a form of social protest, would get on an elevator and face the back wall. So whenever the doors opened, people would walk in and there'd just be a person standing there facing backwards. Now that sounds like a small thing, but it gets people wondering, what is this person doing? Why are they facing the back wall? And they had a shirt on that kind of expressed the protest they were doing. It made people look. So you can do things like that. Withdrawal from social institutions. Stop going to church. Stop going to your local PTA meeting. Stop showing up to social institutions of any kind, or selectively, depending on what you want to withdraw from. Okay. Here we go. Now, withdrawal from the social system. This, by the way, we can debate this. There are some issues with these. There's some of it is important and can be useful. Others are not as useful. The first one here is stay at home, literally. Withdrawal from society. Don't leave your home. Now, that can be useful. That being said, it also it may not allow you to actually take much action, but in a selective way, it can be useful. Okay. Because with it comes a lot of other things. Like, you're not buying stuff, you're not, talking to people. Okay. Total personal non-cooperation. That's where you literally break off social contacts. You refuse to cooperate with what things are asked of you. Flight of workers, where workers will literally leave a certain place, area, leave the business they're at, and run from it. Okay. Sanctuary, where you offer sanctuary to people who are engaged in protest, where you offer them a safe place where they can rest and maybe even hide. I'm not advocating for that, of course, for legal reasons. I'm not advocating for that. I'm simply saying offering sanctuary. All right. Collective disappearance, where vast numbers of people literally just disappear. They may go somewhere else. They may go into hiding. They just disappear. Protest immigration, or hijrat, okay, where you literally immigrate as a form of protest. You immigrate somewhere else, to a different state, a different country. You run. And if vast numbers of people do that, people will start to notice. Okay. It also depletes labor and things like that. Okay. All right. Now for economic methods of non-cooperation. Consumer actions that consumers can do. Consumers boycott, where you literally boycott a certain good or service. Okay. Non-consumption of boycotted goods, where you not only refuse to buy it, you refuse to consume them. Sir Bartholomew, thank you very much, Sir Bartholomew. Sir Bartholomew sent a super chat. It says the following. I'll share this again. The crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away but with blood. I had, as I now think, vainly flattered myself that without very much bloodshed it might be done. John Brown, Sir Bartholomew, you know very well, John Brown, one of my heroes. It should be every American's heroes. Thank you very much for that, Sir Bartholomew. He was a guy, and we got enough now that I will Right. I will put on the Jester hat because, as I said, $15 or more, I would automatically put on the Jester hat. And actually, this thing is warmer than my hat, so this will actually be very helpful for helping keep me warm while I'm having these chills. Okay. Ooh, okay. I am starting to get a headache too. I think, is that another one of the symptoms, I'm guessing? Okay. Thank you again, Sir Bartholomew. Thank you. Okay, guys, if we get 4 more super chats or 15 more dollars, I will put on the collar, okay? Um, okay. Um, yeah, I am. I did quit cold turkey, Macy, so that's why I'm kind of have the shivers right now. Okay. I actually, that's a good idea, Macy. I should document it. Maybe I will. Okay. All right. So okay, so that's non-consumption of boycotted goods. You could also do a policy of austerity where you just don't spend much money. You kind of take a vow of poverty and refuse to spend money. That's one way to do it. Rent withholding. Now, um, again, folks, I don't. Uh, I don't recommend withholding your rent because that would be illegal. I am simply telling you that one of the things that people in a theoretical situation could do. Now, this in a theoretical situation, this would work if there were mass numbers of people doing it at once, okay, which requires organizing and discipline. Um, okay, refusal to rent. Now, he also in these list includes things that like the bourgeois can do, like landowner landlords can do and stuff. So something landlord could do is start refusing to rent to people. National consumers boycott or international consumers boycott. There's all these different kinds of boycotts you can do. We can, I'm sure, all think of a few countries right now that deserve a boycott on them. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, I'm not going to go too much over these three. Different. There's other different kinds of boycott: workmen's, producers, and suppliers and handlers boycotts. Those are just different kinds of boycotts, but generally boycotts. Okay. Action by owners and management. So again, he also includes things that people in power can do. Okay. So they could boycott doing any sort of trading with other businesses. They could refuse to let or sell property that they own to the government or people who are associated with whatever group they're trying to protest against. They could do a lockout where they literally lock out all of their workers to shut down their factory. And I'm not, again, I'm not exactly a fan of these ones, but they are forms of protest. Refusal of industrial assistance or going on a general strike where they refuse to operate their businesses. Okay. Again, those might not apply to most of us. Okay. Uh, Actions by holders of financial resources. You could withdraw your bank deposits. You could refuse to pay fees, dues, and assessments. Boy, if people did that en masse, that would really cause a headache for the banks and in turn cause a headache for the politicians if we refuse to pay the fees, dues, and assessments. Refusing to pay debts or interest. Again, if we saw that happen en masse, and I'm not pushing for it, I'm simply saying if we saw that happen en masse, it would shut down the economy largely. Um, uh, Okay, refusal of the government's money. Okay, lots of different things here. Lots of different things here. Okay. Actions by governments. So this would be for people who aren't in America. I'm not saying you should do these things to America. I'm just saying, okay, you can do this to other countries basically as a form of protest. You know, blacklisting of traders, embargoes, international sellers embargoes, international buyers embargoes, international trade embargoes. Okay, I don't want to go too much into that. I also don't like how this is used a lot of the time for nefarious purposes by empires. But those are some things that you could do. Okay, like Israel or whatever, you could do these things. All right. Okay. The strike. So I think we know what this is going to be. Okay. Protest strikes, where you literally go on strike at your workplace and as a protest. A quickie walkout or a lightning strike, where literally everyone just gets up and leaves suddenly. Okay. Students can do this too. Now, these are all peasant strikes, farm worker strikes. I'm not going to go too much into those. You get it generally striking. Striking. Okay. Refusal of impressed labor. This is, you don't really have prisoner strikes. Prisoners could go on strike, refuse to cooperate. Craft strikes and professional strikes. So, folks, even if you work in your own business, okay, you are a small business owner or you're self-employed, you can go on. You can be a professional strike. You can do a craft strike where you refuse to, I don't know, design that graphic design for someone, or you do things like that. Okay. Again, we have to balance these things with what we can do while also being surviving. Yep, exactly. Yep. Thank you, Taco Don, for that. You're right, Long Beach Dragon. Alan W., a good example is every Thursday is the global economic boycott for Gaza. This is the second week. So I don't fault you for taking super chats given your circumstances, though. Um, oh, you're right. It is Thursday. I totally forgot about that, Alan, though. Thank you for remembering. I forgot that that's every Thursday. I thought it was just last Thursday. My apologies there. Okay, thank you though for reminding me, Alan. By extension, many European countries are doing. Uh, you know what I'm going to do then, Alan? I'm going to remove the goal here. There we go. Okay, remove the incentive. Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. So these are all different strikes. A professional strike is when people like lawyers, teachers, doctors start refusing to work. Professionals. Um, that's okay, Macy. I just totally forgot about that. But thank you though for reminding me, Alan. Okay. Okay. Ordinary industry strikes. Okay, these are easy, just different kinds of strikes. You could also do a sympathy strike where you strike in support of workers at a different business. Okay, fair, Alan. Folks, I won't stop you if you do send me a donation. I'm just not going to put up the goal now, okay? Because yeah, all right. So, okay. There's a bunch of different other kinds of strikes. I'm not going to go too much into it. That being said, there are ways to do strikes that aren't a full-on strike. For example, you could do a slowdown strike where you and your fellow employees collectively agree to not work as hard. You slow down your work, okay? Or mass reporting in sick, where a lot of people suddenly start reporting in sick. Striking by resigning, okay? You could also do a bumper strike where you slowly up the severity of a strike by like one factory starts striking. If nothing changes by the next week, two factories are now striking. There are different kinds of strikes that people can do. All right. Okay. So you don't that yeah, all right. And by the way, one of these days, my twin sister, she actually works for the AFL-CIO. I'm going to have her come in here and talk to you all about this because she's much more knowledgeable about the laws and regulations surrounding strikes than I am. So just to let you know that we'll be doing that someday. Okay. A general strike. You'll notice I have written down here general strike. In the Discord, I posted, I think it was in announcements, a link to an organization that is trying to organize a general national strike. You would need, for a general national strike to be successful, you would need something like 10 million people engaging in it. Um, uh, Hey, Tiago. So they are basically making a list of, they're trying to count the number of people that would be interested in doing this. I think they're up to around 400,000 people. They need 10 million. If you're interested, go click that link there and go to their page and, mention that you'd be interested. Then they'll add your name, or not your name, because it's not like they'll know it's you. They'll be able to count to see if they'd be able to do it. Okay. So that's something you could do, is go do that. A hartal is a kind of strike where everyone just shuts down their businesses, their small businesses, and refuses to work. Okay. And economic shutdown. All of these are, thank you, Macy, 374K so far. Uh, yeah. So, Alan, it is shown that about, I forget what percentage of the population that would be, about, I think 3%. For a general strike to be effective, and do significant economic harm to the point where it enacts change, you need about 3% of the population engaging in it. So that would be about 10 million people. That is why you need about 10 million people. So it's a small proportion of the people in the U.S. I mean, it's a large proportion, but you need about 10 million people doing it for it to be successful. 3.5. I'm sorry. Thank you, Hamina. 3.5% of people. Okay. All right. And honestly, that gives me a bit of hope, because that's not a terribly large percentage. And if people were aware of it, I think a lot of people would engage in it. Okay. Methods of political non-cooperation. Withholding or with rejection of authority. I just love the title on this page. Okay. This is an easy one. You could withhold or withdraw your allegiance. That could just be verbal, symbolic. Okay. That president is not my president, for example, things like that. Withhold or withdraw your allegiance. Okay. You could refusal of public support. Okay. Yeah. Literature and speeches advocating resistance. I think. Yeah. Right. Okay. That would be an example. Okay. Citizens' non-cooperation with government. Now, here are a lot of really important ones. Okay. You could boycott legislative bodies, and this includes legislators. People could refuse to go to legislation sessions and things like that. You're right. You're right, Meowsord. Yep. Larger global sentiment could make a national strike even more effective. Boycotts of elections. Now, this one is a rough one. This can be effective in some circumstances. In others, it can result in things getting worse in a country. Be careful with that one. We don't want. I am not one for criticizing people who don't vote. I want people to vote. I want them, but if you, I understand why some people don't want to vote, because neither party is a good option. That being said, one party is fascist. So this is a difficult one. I get that it might be, I don't want to talk down to anyone who doesn't vote. Let's put it that way. I have no excuse for why I would do that, because I understand how you feel. Okay. All right. But boycotting elections could be a way to do this. Boycotting government employment and positions. Boycott of government department agencies and other bodies. Withdrawal from government educational institutions. So, as much as it pains me to say this, if people refuse to take their children to school, we're going to start having a big problem. Or if people start refusing to show up to state-run colleges, you're going to have a big issue. There are different ways that you can do that. Okay, boycott of government supported organizations. Right. There's a lot of businesses that work as contractors for the government. You could boycott those. Okay. Refusal of assistance to enforcement agents. I'll say that one again. Refusal of assistance to enforcement agents. So in theory, I would not advocate for this, of course, but if a police officer or someone from ICE were to ask for your assistance in hunting down the grandmother next door who is from Guatemala, how would you deal with that? I am hoping, in this theoretical situation, that you would refuse to assist. That is an easy way to resist. Okay? Do not support agents doing things. Okay? Yes. Yes. Thank you, Hamina. Plead the fifth. Use your silence. Okay. Removal of own signs and place marks, so removing signs from public places and things like that. Um, Refusing to accept appointed officials. This can get complicated, but yeah, okay. Refusing to dissolve existing institutions. So, if the government comes in and shuts down an institution, like, say, example, PBS then could take all their staff and just create a new organization that's still PBS and refuse to shut down. There are ways you can do this. You could maybe get crowdfunded. Now, that's just an example, but when an institution gets evolved, as I said at the beginning, the way that a lot of revolutions and resistance movements are successful is when they form mirroring institutions. Okay, so when you have um, mirrored institutions, that mirror other government institutions. Okay, all right. Here are some other important ones. I think most of these are important, more some than others. Okay. These are easy ones. So these are very easy ones. These are not ones that will typically put you much at risk. Sometimes, yes, not always. Citizens' alternatives to obedience. You could be reluctant and slow to comply. If you have to comply with something, do it reluctantly and slowly. Okay. Even if you're not able to just not do it altogether, just slow it down, gum up the process, slow it down. If you have to, for example, turn in your taxes, wait till the last day to do it. Okay. Or try to get an extension, things like that. There are ways you can slow down the process, muck up the process. Now, there are negative side effects to this, but just there are ways to muck up the process. Reluctant and slow compliance is one of them. Okay, non-obedience and absence of direct supervision. If you're not being directly watched, be disobedient. I'm not going to go into details there, but I think you know what I mean. Okay, popular non-disobedience. I don't know why it says no obedience. It's not non-obedience. Macy. Uh, yeah, right, Drusilla. Okay. Popular non-obedience, where mass groups of people sort of decide to be non-obedient in a number of different ways. Okay. Disguised disobedience, where you appear to be obeying, but you're not. Like, let's say if someone comes up to you, a police officer, and says, sir, you're going to need to go home. And you go, oh, yes, officer, of course I will. And you just keep walking in the same direction you were walking. So, like, that would be not really disguised, but you can be disobedient in disguised ways. All right. Another, by the way, that's not mentioned on here is feigning ignorance. He does not mention it. It's one of the things that I always thought he should have had on his list is feigning ignorance. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, when you said to do this, I didn't know. I meant, oh, I'm just a dumb gay man. I don't know. I don't know. Like, there are ways to get around some things. Malicious compliance, absolutely, Meowzord. Malicious compliance. If someone tells you to do something, do it exactly as they say without any adaptation to changing circumstances to the point where it becomes malicious. Okay? Like, exactly, Macy. Oops, I'm just a girl. I don't know. Like, yeah, you can play it up. You can amplify stereotypes anyway, okay? Um all right. Okay. Yeah, malicious compliance can be very fun. I mean, I won't say this, but I've maliciously complied before. Like, if someone I'll give you an example. I didn't do this. I had a friend who was working at a Target, and she got sick. She had some sort of stomach virus, and she felt like she was going to vomit. And the people at the Target refused to let her go home, and they said, you have to stay at your station. And so she did. And so she just vomited right at her station and puked all over a customer. I feel bad for the customer, but that's an example of malicious compliance. Okay. She's like, okay, fine. If you're not going to let me, um, okay. Okay. Oh, what is a fox emblem? What's the news? What's the news? Um, okay. What's the news? Okay. So that's another one. Refusal of an assemblage or meeting to disperse. Remember what happened in Texas with those Democrats. This is something that bothered me. I was proud of them that they, somewhat resisted, but they didn't have to disperse. They didn't have to leave. They could have just, you know, they could have refused to disperse and just stay in that room. So if you're in an assembly of some sort that is trying that, you can refuse to meet or to disperse. That happened during the French Revolution. It happened during the American Revolution. Refusal of an assembly. But first, you actually have to have an assembly. You have to have a parallel government institution or governing institution that mimics the actions of government, regardless. Okay. Anyway, hiding sit downs, literally sitting down in inconvenient places, sitting down. Okay. Uh, so, okay, non-cooperation with conscription and deportation. Non-cooperation with conscription and deportation. If they send you to war, don't go to war. Flee. Okay. If they're trying to deport people or you are about to be deported, don't let them deport you. Flee. I know it's easier said than done. Okay. And again, I'm not saying we should do these things, of course, folks. I'm an educator. I am just telling you what Gene Sharp said are some of the greatest methods for nonviolent resistance. Okay. Hiding, escape, and false identities. Hiding, escape, and false identities. I'm not going to go into that. You understand it. Civil disobedience of quote unquote illegitimate laws. Civil disobedience of illegitimate laws. This is what Martin Luther King did. Okay. They did civil disobedience where they would go into places that were segregated and basically break the immoral laws. Okay. Of course, I am not advocating for that. I am simply saying that is one useful method. Okay. Okay. Action by government personnel. I don't know if anyone here works. Okay. It works for the government, but government aides can selectively refuse to assist people. They can block lines of command and information. They can stall and obstruct government movements. They can also generally non-cooperative administratively. Justices cannot cooperate. Okay. Deliberate inefficiency and selective non-cooperation by enforcement agents and mutiny. I'm not going to talk about those much, but yes. Hey, Death died today. So, what's the news, Fox Emblem? What's a full recovery? Both of the what's the good news? Um, I'm curious. Anyway, okay. So, lastly, or not lastly, we're almost there though. Okay. I'm going to skip that one. That one's not as much. I'm also going to skip this one. Those are kind of things that are don't really apply to people on the ground. Okay. All right. Psychological interventions. You can expose yourself to the elements and make sure to get it on camera, like just sitting outside without eating, exposing yourself to the elements. Fasting. There are multiple ways of fasting in a way that is protesting. It puts pressure on people. It makes people feel morally responsible for the fast. Gandhi did this a lot. Yes, Meowzord, I think the CDC should engage in non-cooperation. And resignation could accomplish resistance. It can also, it depends, right? I would have to learn more about it. Exactly. So I think resignation, I don't think people at this point should be resigning if they're asked to by the Trump administration as a form of existence. They should all wait till they're fired. And then I think other people should also, those organizations should be resisting and not cooperating 100%. Okay. Fasting, hunger strikes. satyagrahic fasts. Okay, I'm not going to go into much, but you understand fasting. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, Alan. Zorhan Mamdani led a hunger strike to get millions of debt relief for cab drivers in New York years ago. Yes. Yes, he did. I eat a lot. I love food. I cannot express enough how impressed I am with people who can fast. I feel like that is not the way I would resist it just because I don't think I could do it. But for those who can, who have the discipline and the strength to do that, yes. All right. Reverse trial, a reverse trial where you put people on trial who are holding trials. Okay. Yes, he is, Hamina. Zoran is amazing. Nonviolent harassment. Do I need to just go into that one more? Where you harass people in a nonviolent manner and within the bounds of law, of course, folks. Of course, I would never suggest otherwise. But again, nonviolent harassment. Okay. Here are a bunch of other things. Physical interventions. You can do a sit-in, you can do a stand-in, a ride-in, a wade-in, a mill-in, a pray-in, where literally a mass number of people go in and sit in a place in a protesting manner, stand in a place, ride on a bus, wade into some water, go into a mill, okay, pray in a resistive way. You can do nonviolent raids where you literally just enter a place and then leave it really quickly as a group. Okay. You can do nonviolent air raids where you send in a bunch of drones and just kind of fly them around and cause an issue. Invasions, nonviolent invasions, okay? Nonviolent interjections, obstructions, and occupations. Okay, Occupy Wall Street was an example of an attempted nonviolent occupation. They occupied Central Park. They occupied they tried to occupy Wall Street. Okay. Okay. Social interventions. And we're almost done here, folks. I promise. Yeah, we're almost done. Um, Establishing new social patterns. So if everyone suddenly starts acting in a different way, that can really upset a system. Sir Bartholomew, excellent question. What's a nonviolent invasion? A nonviolent invasion is literally where you enter territory, either a foreign country's territory or some sort of territory that is held by the government, and you invade it. You enter it, and you either stay there or you enter it and then you leave or you you go across it. It kind of overlaps with an occupation. But that would be a nonviolent invasion. You just kind of, most of the time, it applies to international borders or state borders where you literally cross a border in mass and nonviolently invade another country. Okay. Okay. All right. Establish. So if you, right. Okay. Yes, political flash mobbing. That is that actually is a thing, Mithril. Remember I mentioned singing and stuff? That kind of crosses multiple dots or crosses multiple it checks multiple of these categories. It is sort of an invasion. It also is obstructive in a lot of ways. It causes singing. It attracts attention. It disrupts social patterns, right? So that can be a very revolutionary, resistant way to do. Okay. So overloading of facilities, if you overly pack a facility with people, okay. Stall-ins, where you literally set up, I'm actually not sure if this is stalling a car or stalling like a booth, but okay. Speak-ins, guerrilla theater, where you like have this is kind of like a flash mob, but of theater, where you have theater performances that are performed randomly in public spaces. Okay. Alternative social institutions, and I should have highlighted this one if I haven't enough. Okay. This is where you create social institutions that mirror the ones that already exist and form their functions. So you set up your own church, you set up your own school, you set up things like that mirror existing institutions. Okay. Alternative communication systems. This one is important, folks, because modern day, our communication systems are deeply controlled by corporate entities in the government who are often hand in hand in a lot of ways. So it might be important, in theory, if we need to have some sort of mass secretive communication, that we develop an alternative communication system. All right, and that's what Gene Sharp. That's what Gene Sharp said. Okay, that's what Gene Sharp said. Just to be clear. Okay. Economic interventions. We've talked about some of these. I'm not going to talk about all of these. A lot of these are strikes, defiance of blockades, politically motivated counterfeiting. That can actually create a lot of confusion in the government. If you start counterfeiting a bunch of documents and things like that, of course, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying that would cause confusion if people can no longer figure out what documents are real or not real. Okay. Preclusive purchasing, seizure of assets. That's where you seize the means of production, folks. Okay. Anyway, dumping, where literally you just dump shit, like in, on private property or whatever the case may be. I'm kind of an environmentalist, so I'm not a big fan of that. But hey, sometimes you got to get things dirty to make a point. Alternative markets, where you start developing your own trading networks, your own markets for exchange of goods, like collectives and things like that. Alternative transportation systems, alternative economic institutions. Okay. All right. This is this is the last slide here. Okay. All right. Overloading of administrative systems. Okay. There's a lot of ways to do this. For example, the Trump administration set up this one administrative system where they were asking for applications to try and get a bunch of Trump supporters into the government. And a lot of people started flooding that website with fraudulent applications, and it kind of shut down the system. Okay. So overloading of administrative systems, I don't know if I even want to say this one out loud, but I am disclosing the identities of secret agents. Again, this is what Gene Sharp said. Okay. This is what Gene Sharp said. Seeking imprisonment. Seeking imprisonment, okay, can be useful. Okay. Yeah, Druzilla. As a matter of fact, so Druzilla says farmers could dump cow shit in the front of the White House. I highly support that. I believe it was in France where farmers actually brought in a bunch of milk and started dumping it all over Paris, which you know how milk smells after a while. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So there are ways to do dumping that can be productive. Okay. All right. Seeking imprisonment, trying to get arrested. If that would overwhelm authorities. Okay. Muhammad Ali, absolutely, Meowsword, 100%. Okay. Civil disobedience of neutral laws. Okay. Where you just stop obeying certain laws, even if they're kind of morally gray. If they're not laws that are bad, you can still just kind of disobey them. They are. Drusilla, I wish we had the spirit of protest that the French had. Absolutely. Work on without collaboration. That is where you work, but you refuse to collaborate with any of your coworkers, which can make work almost impossible. And then lastly here, and I keep emphasizing this one, folks, dual sovereignty and parallel government. Okay. The only successful revolutions in history have happened when there have been dual governments in play, or parallel government structures in place. Okay. I'm not suggesting we should have a revolution. I'm just saying having parallel government institutions can make a revolution or break a revolution, for example. But that is also a form of nonviolent intervention. Think about the American Revolution. There was the Continental Congress, which was a parallel government structure. They actually created their own postal system to communicate. They created their own military. They created their own spy networks. They created all these things paralleling the British government. During the French Revolution, they did something similar. That's just something. I think it's interesting. Parallel government. The idea is interesting. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So that's the end of that. Let me go back to the chat here. All right. Let me go back. Let me go to my face real fast here, folks. All right, guys. Oof. All right. I'm feeling a little gross because of the withdrawal here, but I'll survive. Okay, I'm gonna make that less tight. Okay. All right, folks. Let's see how we have here in chat. Uh, all right. Resignation to the CM to the 366 ways to just say right. Okay. Alan W. Zora. Yep. Mm-hmm. What's a non-violent? Oh yes, already did that one. Political flat. The more you know, right? Okay. I'm down. Is South Harmon Institute of Technology? Big Brother is always watching. Yes, 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 yes. I recommend using Briar if possible. Is that a communication thing at Death Die Today? Um, I like that idea, Death Die Today. Think setting up an alternative, isolated, needs-based currency. I would love that. Farmers could dump cow shit. Yeah, I love that one. Out the DL against gays. Yeah, that actually is. There are some gay people who do that. I'm not a fan of it for a number of reasons, but I think that could be very useful. The French are awesome protesting. The cousin of our climate minister were hunger striking outside the parliament to get our wealth fund out of oil and gas. Couldn't find any updates. That is amazing, Drusilla. That's very brave. Yeah, Briar is probably the most secure form of communication. Interesting Death Die Today. I have not heard of it. So, folks, I have now given you that list of different ways of nonviolently resisting. Some of them don't require much effort. Some of them require much more effort. In a theoretical situation where you were to be engaging in any of these things, you will have to think about risk versus reward, possibility of success versus possibility of failure, amongst other factors you have in your life. Hello, James. Hello, hello. Okay. Um, yeah, that's fair, Macy. That is a good point. You're right. You're right, Macy. Okay, so just something to think about. Um, all right. So, I did want to let me see what else have we got here. There are some things I was going to look at reacting to in the Discord. Let me do that now. Okay, so let me open that up. We'll see what I can find here. Okay. Reactions. Ooh, oh, sorry. Just got chills. Okay. Oh, okay. Uh, all right. Reactions. I did want to. I saw one thing that Alan sent me. There's a lot of good stuff here, and I will watch a lot of this, folks. But Alan sent me one. I really wanted to see Richie Torres talk Zionism, LGBT, in the Bronx. Let's watch this one. I'm gonna. I know, Alan, you mentioned going to the second half of it, so I will do that. Um, all right. Let me pull this over here so you all can see it. Okay, let me make sure I go to the right part here. So this is I'm just going to go to the part here, which is what Alan suggested. That apparently they have a conversation about Israel. I'm going to show you all, and I know I'll have to put it up on the screen here, but I'm going to show you all who the donors to Richie Torres is, because I'm guessing that'll tell us how Richie Torres is going to respond to these questions about Israel. Let me make sure I have all the audio set up here. All right. Okay. Now let me pull up. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up Open Secrets. We're going to look at Richie Torres, who is a congressman from the Bronx. Open Secrets. As we always should do this when we're listening to a politician, see who their donors are. Richie Torres. I spelled it wrong. That's okay. There you go, Richie Torres. Okay, so let's take a look who donates to. This is Richie Torres, and they're about to debate on Gaza, on what's happening in Israel, etc. What's happening over. So let me. Here we go. Okay. Is he okay? Okay. So here we go. Let's go down the page here. Can everyone see me? I think you all can. Yeah, you can. You can see me. Let's go down the page. Let's see. So, automatically, folks, I barely have to go down the page. His two top investors, right here at the top. One is Securities and Investment, so $1.6 million from Wall Street. And what is his top individual contributor? Who is his top individual contributor? AIPAC, the American Israeli Public Affairs. So I'm guessing he got over $500,000 from AIPAC. So if I were to guess about what I'm about to see here, yeah, that was his number one biggest contributor. Absolutely. That was his number one biggest contributor was AIPAC. Okay. So, well, I think we can guess what we're going to see here in this interview. All right. I've already discussed it. Now, I will say Adam Friedland is Jewish. Okay, so this will be very interesting because I know I love Adam Friedland. I know he has spoken out against what's going on in Gaza and such. So we shall see if Richie Torres pulls out the classic are you anti-Semite and stuff? Okay, let's see how this goes. All right.
I think you've established yourself as the fiercest champion of the state of Israel in Congress.
I've never described myself in those terms.
I'm
pro-Israel, but those are terms.
Well, I think maybe you've been dubbed that.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, I'm a Jewish person. I have my own opinions on this. You have your own opinions, and this is a.
I'm gonna speed up a little bit here, folks. Got you, James. So you've seen it, James? Okay.
Really frustrating conversation to see people have on the internet. I don't get an opportunity to talk to someone that's making decisions and supporting these things that are a huge deal to people right now.
Sure.
Yeah. One thing that I thought was interesting, and I want to start with you, is that you described your first trip to Israel in 2015 as a life-changing experience,
Yeah, those trips are always curated. They're always escorted everywhere by government officials. It is a propaganda visit. It is not a visual visit to Israel. Yeah.
I just wanted to follow the narrative of you growing up and your struggles and then going into the government. What was that experience like, and what bred that passion for Israel in you?
Well, I think we all know what bred the passion for Israel. It's called paychecks, right? That $500,000+ he received from AIPAC.
Since I grew up poor my whole life, I never had an opportunity to travel abroad.
Yeah.
So the first time I ever
free trip
went to a foreign country.
So it was life-changing because you went on a trip?
Part of the reason went abroad for the first time, life-changing. But also, when you experience the complexity of Israel, you go to the old city.
What did you see? What did you witness?
Well, go to the old city.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yad Vashem, which is the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah.
Go to the Masada, where choose to commit mass suicide to escape enslavement.
Of course, I've hiked to Masada.
The Gaza envelope.
Yeah.
Went to Sderot, spoke to the local mayor who said that.
You went to Gaza?
I did not go to Gaza, no.
What did you say, Gaza envelope?
No, Gaza envelope, which is right on the border with, it's Israel, but it's right at the border with Gaza. So.
It's right next to the fence.
Yeah, it's in the proximity to.
What's at the Gaza envelope? I've never heard that term before.
Sderot.
Yeah, with the rockets going in. Yeah. How far is Sderot from Gaza? It's like a mile or something.
Yeah, within a mile.
Yeah,
right.
It's right next to it.
Yeah, striking proximity.
Tough.
Yeah.
Guys, it bothers me. Now listen. I hate when people like Richie Torres say that it highlights the complexity, or people say that what's happening in Israel between Israel and Palestine is a complex issue. Don't speak about it because it's a complex issue. You don't know enough. Okay, it is not a complex issue. It is simply not. And I say that as a historian, it is not a complex issue. Yes, historically, there are a lot of complexities, but the issue there now is not complex. The trends historically have not been complex. It is a settler colonial project violently pushing people off the land that they own, resulting in armed resistance and religious radicalization on the side of those who are being oppressed. It is an obvious Easy thing to understand if you know anything about history, if you know anything about how humans behave in certain situations. It is easy to understand. The attempts to make it to shut down conversation by saying it is that it is a complex issue. It's too complicated. We shouldn't oversimplify. Is concealing what is happening. Okay, I swear to you. There were lots of documents from the United States during the time of Manifest Destiny where government officials were trying to tell the press, well, yeah, we pushed the natives off their land, but it was a complex issue. Okay. The natives. So this is a common language that is used to cover up settler colonialism. Anyway, it drives me crazy. As you can guess, folks, when I was working, I would hear that a lot from people. Okay.
Small place.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's why Hamas was able to so easily penetrate on October 7th.
By getting over the fence.
Yeah, and it's so close.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just want to know because it seems like it was powerful,
yes.
and it seems like it's informed your record, and I that's what's interesting to me. It's like your story and how you got here, and like I think it's narratively what fascinates me.
Maybe one day you'll give me a chance to tell it, though.
Why are you annoyed by this question?
Oh, he's being sassy. He's getting frustrated. Wow, he's getting nervous. Why are you so nervous, Richie Torres? Why are you nervous, huh? What are you worried about?
So I spoke to local mayor of State Road.
Yeah.
And
Fox Emblem, 100%. Fox Emblem says the Holocaust was a complex issue type shit. Fox Emblem, it's not. You're almost more right than you think it is. One of the greatest Holocaust deniers of all time, David Irving. He said that in court. He goes, well, it's much more complex than people think. Okay. Yeah. Same sort of language. Same thing with the Tutsis and the Hutus in Rwanda. Those who were there for that stream, everyone was like, oh, it's complex. Not really. Not really.
He said to me that the majority of his children struggle with post-traumatic stress because families like his live under the threat of relentless rocket fire. And I remember seeing these bus stops doubling as bomb shelters. You know, I come from the Bronx where people live in fear of bullets and guns, but we in America do not worry about Canada and Mexico firing rockets into American homes and communities. We're a country of 330 million people. We're surrounded by oceans, and Israel's a tiny democracy the size of New Jersey that's literally surrounded by both state and non-state actors that are intent on wiping it off the map. So
yeah. And by the way, it's a nuclear power. This argument that small little Israel is the size of New Jersey, it also has nukes. It's a nuclear power, and it has a very powerful military. Like, oh, poor little Israel, surrounded on all sides. Like, it doesn't. Oh, okay.
I left Israel with an empathy for the unique security situation that Israel faces.
Did you visit the occupied territory?
Right, DZ?
I went into not Gaza, but I went into the Palestinian Ramallah. So.
Yeah, Ramallah.
Yeah.
And what did you see when you were there?
We spoke to Palestinians who obviously have a much more critical view of Israel. And
that didn't resonate as much as... Like, what was your takeaway from hearing... Look, hearing the mayor of State Road, his children have PTSD, and then this guy's like, Israel's screwing with me.
Right,
I'm in favor of a two-state solution.
Sure.
I feel like the just outcome lies not in the existence of a Jewish state to the exclusion of a Palestinian state, or the existence of a Palestinian state to the exclusion of a Jewish state.
So what's happening now then, Richie Torres? So I'm sure you seeing how Israel is destroying the possibility of a two-state solution by literally destroying the people who could be a state. I'm sure you're withdrawing your funding, right? And withdrawing your support for Israel. If you truly believe in a two-state solution, you're probably very upset then with your dear buddy Benjamin Netanyahu and his mass genocide that he's doing against the people who want a state.
It's a coexistence of both. So I think I want to see the struggle, both the Israeli and the Palestinian struggle for self-determination, to be reconciled in the form of a two-state solution.
A big topic nowadays is campus anti-Semitism. Yeah. You've spoken out against it. I just want to know what you identify as the examples of this type of anti-Semitism in elite academic institutions.
Yeah, so there were students at CUNY Halal, where you had a violent, what I thought was an aggressive mob following them to a kosher restaurant in the heart of New York.
Folks, we just went through methods of resistance. Haunting officials. Remember this? Haunting officials, where you literally follow people around, show up where they are. You don't hurt them. You don't harm them. You haunt them. That he implied that was violent. You hear what he said? He said that you're doing violence or harassment or whatever. That is not violence. That is a form of resistance. Okay.
City. And
what were they doing? The mob? What was the mob doing?
Just following them, and then barricaded the restaurant and
they're like chanting?
hurled insults at the patrons and slamming the windows. Much of it is captured in video footage.
Yeah.
And, harassing people simply for being pro-Israel Jews, to me, is wrong.
Is there any other?
Which of those two things do we think was more relevant to those people who were doing the protesting? The pro-Israel part or the Jewish part? I suspect it is the pro-Israel part. So the fact that he said these pro-Israel Jews, he's emphasizing that on purpose. Okay.
Examples like there's a restaurant. I mean, it's just like all we're hearing about it is campus anti-Semitism, radical. Like, is there a link between Hamas and the protests? Like, is that established?
Well, there are students who have faced harassment and intimidation because of their beliefs. There are students who feel inhibited from expressing their Jewish.
Oh, I'm sorry. If we want to talk about students feeling intimidated for their beliefs, the Proud Boys beat up some Jewish folks on a campus. I think it was Jewish folks on a campus, and then also there have been multiple incidents of of pro-Palestinian protesters being beaten up, having stuff thrown at them. And yeah, I'll admit there is some some Jewish folks are sometimes targeted, like I mentioned, by the Proud Boys. But anyway, he's nitpicking, he's cherry picking
Zionist identity because of the atmosphere of intimidation and harassment.
You're right, Alan. Students have been getting expelled for their pro-Palestinian beliefs.
College campuses, you should speak to this.
How have they?
Are you denying that there's any campus anti-Semitism? Or?
Did he say that? Did he say there's no? Of course there is. Anti-Semitism is a problem. It always has been. It is not, though, the massive problem that, as in being anti the Israeli genocide is not the same as being anti-Semitic.
I'll give you an example. I know a younger person that went to UCLA and was attacked, and is Jewish, and was with a group of Jewish people at a protest, and they were attacked by the Proud Boys.
See,
okay, that's an anti-Semitic incident.
No, but the Proud Boys were there for Israel, and those are the guys that did Charlotte.
Proud Boys are there for Israel.
Yeah.
He cannot even conceive of the notion that the far right is pro-Israel. Like, even though it's obvious, of course they are. Of course they are. Nick Fuentes isn't Nick Fuentes? No, he's not pro-Israel. But there are like lots of right-wingers that are pro-Israel. Okay. Anyway.
Proud Boys is like white nationalists and white supremacists.
I'm telling you right now.
We're anti-Israel, but okay.
Listen, I'm like a comedian, right? Like, I hate when comedians, especially on the internet, like, speak from a position of authority with about crap that they don't know about. This is one topic I feel like I can speak on, and
on college campus anti-Semitism.
No, on anti-Semitism and
in general, because you haven't been in college how long? Probably 2 decades, right?
I'm telling you on my experience of anti-Semitism in the last 2 years. But the last 2 years have felt different in America, and I don't know if you've been on Twitter recently. Now a ton of people are questioning the validity of the Holocaust having happened.
Yes.
Can you tell me with a straight face that those are the 18-year-old kids at Columbia that are doing that?
The 18-year-old kids at Columbia?
Are they doing those posts about the Holocaust never having existed? Who's doing it.
No, we disagree here.
You think that it's the...
You don't put words in my mouth.
It's people on the right. Let me tell you...
You're suggesting that you're suggesting there's no one on the far left that denies the Holocaust? Or downplays the Holocaust? That's an absurd...
What? Did he say that, folks? Did he say that? Did he say no one on the far left denies the Holocaust? He did not. Richie Torres is like a master at straw manning. Well, he's not even very good at straw manning, but he's trying to straw man.
You're doing moot court right now. I'll tell you what it's like to be my experience being Jewish.
But there are others who have a different.
I'm trying to see. Why is one better than the other? Why is one more important than the other? I'm trying to share with you. You're in the government. I don't get a chance to talk.
Of course.
Okay. I think hatred of Jewish people has exploded in this country.
Mm-hmm. And as I've said, folks, I wish I could tell you about some of the emails I received. That being said, let me emphasize something. One of the reasons I'm so concerned about what Israel is doing is that it is bad for Jewish people, okay? Israel, the far right-wing fascist government of Israel is always trying to conflate Judaism with the government of Israel. They're constantly putting out propaganda saying as such. And the whole world many people all over the world despise what the government of Israel is doing, and they keep trying to conflate the government with Judaism. It's going to cause increased anti-Semitism against Jews everywhere when you make that conflation. And this is why it is so bad for Jewish people that the government of Israel is so right-wing and doing these horrible things in the name of Judaism, because even though there's lots of Jews, there are tons of Jews everywhere who are anti-Zionist, who are against what the government of Israel is doing, but they're all being lumped together because of Benjamin Netanyahu. And so it is complete nonsense. It is complete nonsense when like Benjamin Netanyahu and stuff is like talking about like we're doing this for all Jewish people. Okay, it's nonsense.
And I don't think it's. I think it's because it's of our support of what looks to be an absolute brutality. And I think that
you think that's
I love freedom. I love that.
Here's the thing:
like Israeli government policy is a justification for anti-Semitism. My view is there's no justification for anti-Semitism.
I think that
there's zero justification for anti-Semitism.
Okay, you're deflecting again.
I'm not deflecting. That's like,
right, he is deflecting. He's deflecting.
What does it look like to have a flag with a Jewish star and I'm Jewish, and for kids to be starving right now? And why is my government? I don't want to do this fight. Let's not do like a yelling at each other thing. I really just for me, I had the experience of.
It just sounds like you're justifying anti-Semitism, which making me feel like.
Are you crazy right now?
Okay.
Why would I do that? You're doing the I'm Hamas thing?
I'm not
Fox Emblem. Fox Emblem, you're actually right about that. The stats show that a lot of Israeli society holds pretty right-wing views. That being said, I guess I should edit that and say it is not all people in Israel, but it is certainly not all Jews globally. Absolutely, probably not even close. I should kind of edit that. You're right, because a lot of people in Israel have been brainwashed. It's kind of like America after 9/11. They, let's go bomb Iran, let's go bomb Iraq, whatever. Yeah, okay. Hello, London. Hello, welcome, London.
But I'm not. I think
we'll do a different tack.
Israeli government policy should have no bearing on. If you have disagreements with the Israeli government, you should voice your criticism of the Israeli government. But there is no justification for intimidation or harassment against American Jews.
I'm telling you as a Jew right now that we are receiving a lot more hate because of what the people with a flag that has a Jewish star on are doing to other people right now. I'm telling you, as a Jewish person, what...
Right, Mithril? Remember, folks, Adam is Jewish. He is Jewish. And you got Richie over here talking in a condescending way as if Adam here, who is Jewish, is being anti-Semitic. I mean, they have no shame. No shame. Richie has no shame.
How painful it is for us to say, and it hurts my stomach to say this, so you're going to say, I disagree, that this is a genocide. And that hurts to say that a Jew could do that. It hurts because we grew up with learning about what hatred is. We grew up learning about this. The same year the state of Israel was established.
He's speaking from his heart.
The world saw the Holocaust, and they established standards for what a genocide is. It was the same year. And the world said that this shouldn't be a thing that happens. And I just wonder, like, it doesn't make sense to me, I don't know, it doesn't track to me why there's this fixation with kids at a school and two examples of people at a restaurant that there was banging.
Two examples. I mean, there are surveys on it.
Yeah.
Read the ADL surveys on it. Because
the ADL, which recently, folks, has done things like excuse Elon Musk's raising of his hand in a Nazi salute. Lots of other things recently. Yeah.
It's hard for me to talk about this in public.
Clearly,
you're being a dick. That's mean.
No. I'm not being mean. It's an emotional topic.
All right, I'll share with you what happened. I lived there.
I don't intend to be mean. So.
Yeah.
Sure, I lived there when I was 18, and I grew up a Zionist. And we were told, and our whole community in this country is told, that we have to defend Israel and love Israel because it will stop at the Holocaust. It will stop another Holocaust from happening. And my dad was born in 1951. That was 6 years after these atrocities. His friends' parents, he knew these people that had been through this hell, these skeletons. And it terrified us.
Macy, I agree.
And the understanding in our community is that we have to defend Israel. But I lived there, and I went to a settlement at the end of my year there, and I looked down the hill at a Palestinian village, and I saw how they lived, and I turned back and I looked at the settlement and saw how they lived. And people live in a world where they're demeaned and dehumanized and surveilled constantly by people and this isn't in Gaza, by people in SWAT team outfits with semi-automatic weapons, and that's what the world is seeing. And you keep telling me that the problem is someone's getting yelled at a restaurant? I'm sorry.
You're conflating two different issues. So
Please. Me saying
oh my God, Adam is spitting fire right now. Also, folks, let's just take a moment to appreciate this is dangerous for Adam to do. Okay, it is, and he might be. I don't want to speak to his personal life, but this might be. He might have friends and family who will kind of disconnect to him because of what he's saying here. This is a dangerous thing for him to do. I mean, he's extremely brave. Extremely brave. Mithril, I understand. Yeah, he basically did. He did. Yeah, yeah. It's like you're right, Long Beach Dragon. Richie Boy did just basically tell Adam he's complaining too much. Like he is diminishing the experiences of a Jew. You know, I mean, anyway. He's talking to a rock, though. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
right
all
now
right.
Will hurt people in my own family. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this is a very important thing to us. And the fact that I still fucking care about being Jewish is embarrassing. I should just be a guy. But this feels like a stain on our history. And it feels like it's changed what being Jewish is.
Hey, I feel bad for Adam. It's okay to still be proud of being Jewish, Adam. I mean, it's your identity. There's nothing. I mean, this is sad, folks. It's sad because Jewish folks have a lot of stuff to be very proud of in there. You know, as a historian, I can say that. I mean, okay.
Because what being Jewish isn't Israel. Judaism has existed for 4,000 years. This is a country for 75 years.
Yes.
You know, like, it is the oldest, one of the oldest monotheistic religions. Anti-Semitism is one of the oldest forms of hatred. People in my life are going to be mad at me about this, but I'm saying this because I am Jewish. You know, and I don't understand why you would be.
Look how you define.
I want to.
I feel like I'm here to be lectured, not.
Oh my God! I hate this man. I hate this man. I feel like I'm here to be lectured. Yeah, okay. Are you a sociopath? Are you not be able to connect with someone on a human level and understand how that person is feeling? Is the money like sticking in your ears so you can't hear him? You can't connect with this human being? Oh my God.
Shut up. That's not nice. You can't talk that way.
Oh.
Why are 1% of Jews more poor than others?
No one's saying any.
What happened? You went to the beach in Israel? What, you went to a restaurant or something?
Yeah.
A nice restaurant?
No.
Like,
Would love to, Matt Sai guy. Maybe I'll do that.
Never been to the Tel Aviv Pride Parade. So.
This is the year 2025.
Yeah.
The world is seeing something that looks terrible, and it's being done in my name, and I don't know what to do.
But the war began on October 7th.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
No.
Yes, when Hamas systematically murdered.
Thank you, Adam. No, it did not. It did not begin on October 7th. Especially as a historian, super bothers me. There's this idea that it just kind of sprung out of nowhere, right? Like that is not how that works. October 7th was a terrible crime committed against civilians. Yes, but it didn't spring out of nowhere. Okay, it didn't just pop into existence. You know, you all probably know this. You know, maybe sometime I'll do a stream where I just talk about the history of all this because I could easily do that. It drives me crazy though.
Look, we're going down a rabbit hole. We fundamentally disagree.
No.
But Hamas murdered and maimed and mutilated and abducted and tortured thousands of people. That's not television. That's a fact.
I'm going to marry Adam.
You can deny it. You can
that's my husband right there.
Well, you seem to be.
You're doing the I'm pro October 7th. You're doing I'm pro Hamas.
I never said you were pro Hamas. You're putting words in my mouth.
It is.
But you seem to be downplaying it.
There, for the last 17 years, people have been under a blockade where they cannot leave. If you were born in a place and there's a fence there and there's a guy with a gun on the other side and he says you can't go anywhere, would you like that guy? If you treat people like animals, sometimes they're going to lash out.
Look, I sincerely believe, maybe I'm wrong, that if Palestinians were governed not by a terrorist organization like Hamas in Gaza, but by a regime that was able.
Which, by the way, folks, do we all know who funded Hamas? Who funded Hamas? Because from what I know, good old Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government was sending like literal bags of cash to Hamas through Qatar for a while. And in an effort to divide the Palestinians. Exactly, James. Exactly, Mithril. Okay. So does Richie Torres So maybe if that's the case, if he doesn't want a quote unquote terrorist organization to lead Gaza, maybe then he should go after the people or disconnect from the people who funded that organization.
And willing to make peace with Israel, the situation would be
and the
different.
West.
The preconditions for this happening are undeniably something that the Israeli government was fully aware of.
Yep.
Why would Bibi Netanyahu? Okay, here's
do you think October 7th was justified?
No.
Okay,
oh my God.
Are you listening to what I'm saying right now?
I am listening to it.
Yeah. Is he listening, or does he just have? Is he a robot? He just has these pre-programmed lines in his head to spit out when he's talking about this issue.
Why would the Israeli government? Hamas wants to eradicate the Jewish people and the Jewish
Mithril,
state?
I deeply appreciate
right?
it. Keep
That's
it up.
what Hamas said, yeah.
Okay, then why would they directly give Hamas money, literally bags of cash in suitcases?
I get it, James.
Through the Qataris.
So do I.
Billion,
Yeah. Yes.
nearly, I think
Thank
over
you,
$1
Adam.
billion in cash. During this last 17 years.
That's a fair point. It's a great question.
If one of those kids at Columbia wrote a $5 check to Hamas, you'd say send them to Gitmo for being a terrorist.
It's a fair point.
Does that make Benjamin?
Okay. Also, I'm sorry. He just said if a 5-year-old, if a child sent a $5 check to Hamas, you'd send them to Gitmo, which was a purposeful exaggeration. But then Richie Torres goes, "Oh, that's a fair point. So you would send a child to Gitmo for sending a $5 check to Hamas?" Revealing.
Benjamin Netanyahu a terrorist? He's supporting terror.
The United States, it seems to me, the United States and Israel could have shut off the spigot and did not do so. I don't know why, but that was a failure. There's no question.
A failure. Notice, okay, a lot of times when these bribed politicians who've been bribed by AIPAC speak about Israel, they always speak in an ambiguous language that places the blame on no one. It was a failure. Oh, I don't know what happened. It was a mistake. Okay, and who did the mistake? What was the cause of the mistake? Okay.
I think that what I see is the reason why our government provides $25 billion to something that looks this horrific to people. I think is the same reason. I think it makes it look like the Jews control the government, but really what it is the more boring answer. It's the reason why the government and you guys don't get shit done.
Oh, is he going to talk about
bribery? The reason why can happen. You guys can't do gun reform.
Please tell me.
Why can't we do gun reform?
Because special interest groups can buy influence in our government.
Yes!
Which political parties against gun reform?
The NRA has a power.
It's the Republican Party.
We allow government. Our government.
Really? It's just the Republican Party against reform, Richie Torres? As I recall, under the Biden administration, the Democrats controlled the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they barely did a thing. They messed around the edges, Richie Torres.
Flooded with cash and money. And what's scary to me is that it looks that people are starting to question the Holocaust ever happening. How could Jews, maybe they invented the Holocaust?
Right, Meowzord.
You're blaming Israel for Holocaust denial?
I'm blaming our government for supporting a genocide.
Yeah.
But it is unfathomable in my heart, and it breaks my heart that we could be capable of it.
I think we should move on.
Why is that?
We just fundamentally disagree. So
I don't think that.
Okay, so this is how you deal with that, Richie Torres. Why don't you defend your position, provide evidence, talk about why Adam is wrong, but you can't, can you? You can't. And you know what, folks? I suspect that the reason he's shutting down now is because Adam did bring up the campaign contributions of special interests. And now he really wants to end the conversation quickly before Adam goes deeply into that.
I think I'm talking to you about where I come from and that it feels different, and maybe I have a different perspective.
Yeah, you have a different perspective.
Adam is winning.
But
I know people who have a perspective that's different from yours. With a much smaller platform than you.
I'm not. I hate this conversation.
I know.
You know, I have it with my family. You know, it's not something. And I love my family.
Adam is really coming at it from his heart.
My family grew up in South Africa, right? We were like Jews from Eastern Europe that literally we thought we were going to Ellis Island. Mm-hmm. My grandma, all the grannies stayed, and my parents' whole generation of South African Jews left. And when I was a kid, like growing up, I used to write all my who's my hero essays on Nelson Mandela, and he was like a hero of mine, right? And he was also, in prison, and for terrorism too. I don't want to get it. You're gonna go Hamas is what I don't want. I'm not debating Hamas is good. He was called that, and
he is a sociopath.
He went to my synagogue
You're right,
after he got out of
Toya.
prison, Madiba, and he spoke to like all the grandmas who like were.
By the way, one of the, I know I'm not a psychiatrist, obviously, so don't take my word on it, but one of the sort of affectations that comes with sociopathy is it's called having a flat affect, where you don't have much facial expression, where you just kind of have this dull smile on your face all the time because you have trouble sort of with emotional expression. And boy, do I see that on Richie Torres's face. Maybe he is a goddamn sociopath. He certainly is acting like one. And when how he's doing this, and he kind of has that flat affect. Okay, let's continue.
Still there. They didn't have to fucking move because black people could vote. And he said, "Tell your kids to come back because we need them to build our country." I don't know. I think that I don't see what's wrong with people being afforded the right to vote.
Do you think that's what Hamas means when it says "Free Palestine from the river to the sea"?
To me, it seems like maybe if there's a recognition that people were cleared off their land in 1948.
But there are those who only want a Jewish state, and there are those who only want a Palestinian state.
Then they can fuck off.
And we should be advocating for the coexistence of a Jewish state and a Palestinian state. I continue to believe the two-state solution ultimately is the inevitable path forward.
It's stupid.
There were 1,000 Jews who were murdered before the establishment of Israel, like half a century before the establishment of Israel. 1,000 Jews.
Yeah, they were killing each other, Jews and Palestinians. Yeah,
the Hebron massacre.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense.
Just folks, if you've never heard of the Nakba, look up the Nakba. Anyway,
This in 2025.
The only point
right,
was there was violence against Jews before the establishment of the state of Israel.
There was violence against Palestinians.
Yes, there was also violence against Palestinians.
Ethnic cleansing in 1948.
I mean, the Hebron
Yes.
massacre.
What are you talking about right now? You're in the government. Listen, I didn't want to argue.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're not familiar with the Hebron massacre in 1929?
Well, you're saying that justifies an entire ethnic cleansing in 1948?
Yeah,
No, this isn't even a good argument.
Hold on, Israel.
What are you talking about?
I didn't realize we were debating.
I don't want to do it, but you say something like that.
The Jewish state was established by international law, right? The UN passed a resolution. That recognized the establishment of a Jewish state.
Alyssa.
And there were a number of Arab countries, including Egypt, that declared war on Israel. Yes. It was a war of independence.
Hey, folks. Okay, I'm sorry. For the folks in chat that have been here through multiple streams, did we hear what the one true thing that Richie Torres just said? He said a number of Arab states, including Egypt. Anyway.
Israel won the war.
The Palestinians didn't declare war then. There were just people that were living there. And they were kicked off their land.
By the way, there were 800,000 Jews that were ethnically cleansed from the Arab world.
Do you know what?
There were Jews. You know how many Jews there are
not
in the
by
Arab
the
world?
Palestinians.
I'm not talking about I'm talking about the broader Arab world.
So why do the Palestinians have to bear the responsibility of the Algerians kicking the Jews out?
Right, Alan.
Why do the Palestinians bear the responsibility of Egypt invading in 1948?
Israel's been a state for 77 years.
Bro, it's so depressing what you're saying.
You're proposing to undo an established state?
No, I know people that live there. I have family that live there. I don't think that they should leave.
What are you proposing?
I'm proposing a democracy. I'm proposing an extensive demographic study of what was taken and what was lost, extensive reparations for what was taken, and a truth and reconciliation process where we can end this shit. What we're seeing right now is that members of the Israeli government are talking about clearing that shit out. And Trump, our president, is talking about putting a fucking jet ski museum there.
Yeah, Adam, oh my God, this man. He knows what he's talking about, guys.
And that's the reality right now.
That is the far right, yes.
It's
That's
the
a
far
view
right.
that I reject. So.
What the far right? I'm talking about the government and the generals that are in charge of Israel.
The Ben-Gavirs, the Smolters of the world. That's a view that I reject.
They're the cabinet.
Yes, and I reject them.
That's what Hamas is saying they want to do to Israel.
I reject them. Okay, so are you gonna vote against funding them then? Are you gonna vote against funding them? I mean, Mithril, my history teacher served in the British Army and was part of the team who cleared up the King David Hotel in 1948. He saw British soldiers hung by Ben Gurion. Yep, there were Jewish terrorists who actually, far-right hyper-nationalist terrorists who did things like attack British soldiers, Christians, Palestinians. Absolutely, Mithril. Yeah. Yep.
I'm sorry?
I mean,
Hamas murdered thousands of people, so there's no...
Hamas murdered thousands of people. What is Israel doing right now? How many more have they slaughtered than Hamas slaughtered on October 7th? How many more? Like it's what? It's like what? 5 or 6? I don't even know the number. Multiple times more. It's like October 7th times a billion.
So what does that mean?
That Hamas is a terrorist organization for murdering innocent children and civilians.
How many civilians have been killed in this war?
Yeah.
The war is a tragedy, but
90% of them have been.
But
90% of them have been.
But
they've killed journalists. They've killed journalists.
People have been killed in war. It's been a tragedy.
They've killed people waiting for aid.
But you're suggesting that it is the policy of the Israeli government to murder
exactly,
civilians,
Alan.
That's
hey, oh my God. Oh, Richie Torres. Well, if you're gonna say it out loud first, Richie Torres. Yeah, do we think, Richie Torres, that might actually be the Israeli government's policy is to murder civilians? He said, well, if you're saying, oh my pearls, you're saying that the Israel government might actually trying to murder civilians? Yes, Richie Torres. Yes.
That is a notion that I reject.
You gotta listen, man. You gotta be like a human being about this.
People who are dying in the war, which to me is a tragedy, because war is a tragedy.
Do you feel in your heart that this is what you're saying is right?
If you remove Hamas,
you don't actually think that.
I told you what I believe. Don't tell me what I believe. I've told you what I believe.
Why would you believe that?
Because there are people who see the world differently. I know it's a shock to you, but there are people who see the world differently.
Oh my God.
But why?
I know that's a shock to you.
Like it seems a little bit.
You're right. Toy, 100%. It's not the language that these folks use, okay, is always ambiguous and sort of deflects blame. So Toy says it's not a tragedy, it's a deliberate. Yeah, he'd be like, oh yeah, war, it's a tragedy. That's like something you say about like a hurricane, okay? This is a deliberate strategy of ethnic cleansing, of genocide that's happening. It is not some random ass tragedy out of nowhere, okay? It is an obvious, deliberate thing. It is not some natural disaster just kind of passively happening. It is an active policy by the Israeli government to kill and remove people from the territory of Gaza. And, by the way, from the West Bank.
The humanitarian crisis has deteriorated rapidly.
I don't want to be disrespectful like this.
Well, you've been at various points.
In what capacity?
How has he been disrespectful?
In what capacity?
It's fine. Don't worry. It's just been
it's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh my God.
I think that my conscience is clear, especially as someone that's lived there and seen it and loved people that live there. And this sucks.
Yeah, you're right, Drusilla.
I really didn't want to do this. And I think that you saw it as gotcha. Well, this is what people are talking about right now.
I get it. Well, not in the South Bronx. People are not talking about Israel. People are talking about how to put food on the table and pay the bills.
Yeah.
Maybe in your world, that's what people are talking about.
Yeah, that's a good question, Richie Torres. So if people in the South Bronx aren't talking about Gaza, why are you so obsessed with defending Israel and stuff like that? I wonder why.
In the world, people are struggling. So
yeah. Then why, if people are struggling in your world, are you paying $25 billion?
We have a $7 trillion budget in the federal government.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not that much money?
Less than 1%.
So it's a little money went to Israel.
In the grand scheme of the federal budget, yes, it's minuscule.
I'm sorry, dude. You're bummed. Your consultant told you not to do it. I like this guy a lot too. I hate this. This is so embarrassing.
I don't have anything to hide. I'm willing to go anywhere.
No, man. I'm sorry. I appreciate your time. Listen, having this opportunity is a big deal. I don't get to talk to someone.
I just want to see if what else they say right here at the
taking part
end.
of these big decisions like this, and
Meowsord, yeah. Rhymes with honey and flows faster. Money.
Would like me. Virginia Fox?
I don't know.
Do you have her number?
I don't have her number, no.
All right. I appreciate it. I feel like you're mad at me or something. I got to get a big laugh?
But look, it's like Hyman Roth from The Godfather 2. He said, this is the life we've chosen. So, I know what I signed up for.
Is this what happens? This has been I've been doing a terrible job. I'm rambling about Israel.
Interesting.
And them being a Jew and the Holocaust. It's the most embarrassing stuff to talk about in public.
I feel like every Jewish American should have a right to be who they are, to wear a kippah, to display a Star of David, to be proudly and visibly Jewish, without fear of harassment or intimidation or violence.
And who is saying they don't? I mean, yeah, I know there's far-right people who say that, but he is, again, deflecting from the issue here.
Oh.
I mean, the freedom to be who we are is fundamental for all of us.
Well, I think that...
Yep, Alan.
From where I'm sitting, Israel might be a threat to that.
And, you have that view, but others have a different view.
Why are we still?
Look, he's reaching in his pocket. He's checking all the cash that he's taken from AIPAC to make sure it's still there. You see that?
This interview. This is exhausting. I'm sweating.
We can end the interview.
AC's on. I'm just trying to find a button to shake your hand, dude. I don't want to fucking do this. Dude, we could talk about so much other shit.
No, I think you have an agenda to speak about this. I
didn't have an agenda.
I really did.
It's your number one topic.
It's not my number one topic. It's just not.
It is.
It's not my number one topic. It's not
what I saw.
Well, then
From what I saw.
Oh my God, this is so. I love
You'll get
this.
elected in the South Bronx and
I'm not trying to make you feel bad or like.
No, but I just don't think you know what you're talking about.
Oh my God, folks! Thank you so much. Who sent that again? Was that Meowzord? No, it wasn't. It was Alan. Thank you, Alan, for that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. We're surrounded by monsters. Okay. Yeah, when's he up for re-election? He needs to be primary. Get him out of there. Get his ass out of there. Jesus. Alan, I'm sorry, Adam, a hero here for doing this interview, endangering his relationship with his family and friends, as he said. To stand up for what's true and right. Okay, guys. Let me pull up my face screen here. Okay. All right. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's only so much of that stuff I can take anymore, but for some reason that didn't really weigh on me as much. I mean, because Adam was so good at showing, he was so good at handling it. Yeah. And by the way, folks, do you know that Israel has killed more civilians in Gaza than Russia has killed during their entire war on Ukraine? Like, Putin, not exactly a fairy princess angel. And the Israeli government has slaughtered in a shorter amount of time more civilians in Gaza than Russia has killed of Ukrainian civilians throughout the entire war. I mean, okay. So let me just read through some of these chats here. Yeah, Long Beach Dragon. Unfortunately, Long Beach Dragon, he absolutely is a Democrat, and that's a big problem because the Democrats, there are lots of Democrats who are extremely pro-Israel and are bribed by AIPAC. The Democratic Party is very corrupt, except for a few of them. So yeah, absolutely is a Democrat, and not surprised by that. Okay. Yeah. Yep, Alan W. In a war, there's normally battles. I haven't heard of one battle during these past 2 years. It's almost like they're fighting civilians. Shocking revelation there, Alan. Shocking. Yeah, right? This guy is disgusting, Druzilla. He is in denial. He's so close to getting it, right, James? But he can't because there's a massive wad of cash between his brain cells that stop him from getting it. Okay. Meowzord, if we wanted to do a genocide, we do it in a day. Oh, okay. Totally normal and not revealing statement to make in good faith, right? Meowzord, it's like disturbing that they think that that's an excuse for it or excuses it. And by the way, folks, every genocide in history has not happened in one day. It's been a long process of buildup, of planning, of deliberate action over many months. Yeah. Okay. They would have done so much worse if they wasn't trying to make it look better to defend. Yep. Little bitchy Torres Homina. Last time I checked, right? Alan W., if you adjust all the metrics and make them proportionate, you have to go back to World War II to find something that rivals what's been going on. Yeah, you do. You're right. Okay, Mithril it is Henry G, and it is Henry G, and I'm hotter than lava right now. Mithril, thank you for sitting through that with us. I feel you, Mithril. I do. Rhymes with honey and yeah, money. Okay, what Israel's doing is unprecedented. Number of journalists. Yeah, they've killed so many journalists, more than all of the most. I think, as I recall, and don't quote me on this, folks, it's something like the number of journalists they've killed is more than all modern wars combined. Like all wars in the last 10 years or so, just slaughtering journalists left and right. Yeah, right. Meowzord, say it about Muslims. Why that would have been a good thing for Adam to ask him. Okay, do you agree? What about Muslims? Do you think Muslims should be able to express themselves in public, wear a hijab, wear traditional dress, and you not, yeah, exactly. And every Palestinian American, Richie, yeah, exactly, Mithril. A primary would be too good for this doofus. Yep. When he's up for re-election, yep. Every 2 years. I forgot he is a representative, isn't he? Yeah, so he'll be up soon. Let's just hope that they get a progressive in there or someone who actually has balls. And it could also be a woman, by the way. I know the word balls can kind of denote one gender over the other, but it could be a woman with balls. I don't care. Whoever it is, that is enough willing to do something and not be bribed. Alan W. New York City DSA will run a candidate to primary him. I'm sure of it. I hope so. I'm sure they will, but let's hope. Bassem Youssef reaction, please. Matt Saigai, did you put it in the? Is it in the Discord? I could look it up though. That was. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what that's. Yeah, AHRD. Oh yeah. Long Beach Dragon. Are we even sure? Richie Boys. Okay. Thank you for suggesting. Okay, right. Duh. Okay. Long Beach Dragon. I lived in the South Bronx for 12 months. The reason they aren't talking about it is that there are nearly no Jews in the South Bronx. The South Bronx, Deborah Barbaria. Oh, that's okay. That's interesting, Long Beach Dragon. But see, that also is interesting because then why does Richie Torres care so much about it if no one else in the Bronx cares about it? It's probably because of all that money in his pocket. They do it slowly just to be able to defend it. Yep, exactly, Drusilla. It is a political motivated slow genocide. That is absolutely true. Toy. You're right. He's not in denial. He's just mean, and we have to accept that some people are evil and not capable of doing. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries. I'll find Richie Tory and I see a seat somewhere. Yeah. We'll find Richie Tory. Yeah, probably Mithril. Okay. Do we support Muslim ethno-states as well, or a Christian nationalist state since we love Jewish states? Right, Hamina. But alas, there's not as much money flowing from Christian and Muslim ethno-states. So, okay. Campaign contributions from, all right. Norman Finkelstein. I love Norman Finkelstein. I did. A really, really smart guy. I've read some of his books. Bassem Youssef is a crazy good at frame. Yes, he is. Adam was nearly in tears at points, and Richie displayed how sociopath. I totally agree. You could tell he's a sociopath. Okay, so the Bassem Youssef thing. Which one is it, folks? What time is it? First of all, here, let me see what time it is. 3:50. Okay, we got. Well, it's been two almost 3. I am not feeling great because of how I'm of my going through withdrawal here. You have a lot of the cesspool concern me from a legit perspective, very irrelevant and humorous along the lines of Tim Heidecker. Hi, Rec. Okay, the Elefunk. Hey, welcome back, Elefunk. That sounds great, Elefunk. Are you in our Discord, Elefunk? You should add that to the Recs. The only reason I keep saying that, folks, is I will forget all these things you've asked. But I will definitely look up the Bassem Youssef stuff. I love Bassem Youssef. Brilliant guy who's really good at framing things in a way that's comprehensible to average people. So, folks, yay, Hamina. So everyone, Hamina is painting for me an image of a jester for me to put on my back wall. I'm very excited about it, but yeah, I'm so glad, Hamina. I'm glad to hear you did the I'm so glad you finished the underbaiting. I'm excited. Okay. I got you, Meowzord. Also, South Bronx was historically large Jewish enclave, so it's not current. Probably historic influence land. There's been fair. Okay. Hey, I love that, Maisie. If you want to make me costumes, let me know. I will pay you for it. Because I would love like a nice full body jester outfit. That'd be amazing, and maybe like even a jester like rod with like a little head on the end. So I would love that shit. Okay. All right, guys. So let me do my final little bit here. I'm sorry I'm ending a bit early. I'm ending a bit earlier than I normally do, I think. I'm just feeling, you can imagine, I'm kind of About to collapse. Okay, so not really collapse, but all right. Let me do my last little bit here, folks. Thank you everyone who's watched, and thank you for Sir Bartholomew for contributing. Is that so, Malzord? Don't threaten me with a good time, Macy. I will gladly threaten you with a good time, Macy. If you're willing to make it, I will pay for it. Okay. Meowzord, CR, go outside and get some sunshine. Help with the chills. Oh, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that. It's a bit cold here, but I can put on some clothes and go outside. That's a fair point. All right, guys. You all know what's coming, okay? All right, you all know what's coming. First of all, first and foremost, most importantly at this moment, free Palestine. Free Palestine. They deserve to be free. We cannot let innocent humans anywhere be slaughtered. Free Palestine. They are suffering through a genocide. Free Palestine. Secondly, you can't stop resisting. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves. The easiest way to resist is to think for yourselves, and that includes when you watch me. I am a human. I make mistakes. I am not perfect. You shouldn't listen to everything I say. You should always get other perspectives outside of mine. Don't get trapped in an information silo. The easiest way you can resist is to think for yourselves. Secondly, here, we are currently living in a fascist moment in this country and in many places around the world. Fascism is caused by a society that is sick, where people lose faith in their democratic institutions because it is failing to provide for them economically, socially, and every other way. So they start turning towards more radical ends of the political spectrum to get their needs met. The way to fight this is to do for major reforms. We have to make our country a democracy again. We have to reform the society to give people faith back in their democracy, okay? You cannot stand in the center. You cannot stand in the center. If you stand in the center, the fascists will walk all over you. You can't stand in the center. We have to move at least a little bit leftward. I'm not saying we have to go crazy with it, but we have to move a little bit leftward here. We have to make some major changes so that our country does not stay a fascist country, not only here, but around the world. Lastly, on the wall behind me, here is Chainbreaker. Chainbreaker is a sword from the Civil War. It is rumored to have killed 7 slave owners. Why do I have it back here? To remind everyone here that there were people, our ancestors made tremendous sacrifices, including their lives, for some of the things we have today: economic freedoms, social freedoms, civil rights, rights for women, anything you can think of, not only here, but around the world. We cannot let their sacrifice go to waste, people. Please don't let their sacrifice go to waste. And we always must fight for a better future. And on that note, folks, you all have a good day, evening, night, wherever you may be. I'm going to try and get over this withdrawal. Have a good night, good day. Bye-bye.